Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning into this edition of Reporter's Notebook. Today, I am joined by Emily, and I feel like we were just in the studio together doing a Reporter's Notebook. Can't believe that the week has flown by.
I know.
Okay, but the weekend was beautiful. What did you do this weekend?
Honestly, I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like, I slept most of the weekend. I was just so tired. Like, that's such a lame excuse, but yeah, I pretty much just took the weekend to relax, and now I regret it because it's raining today. So I'm like, awesome. Well, wasted all the good days.
Well, Emily, I am so sad that you missed the 2 days of sunshine that we had and the warm weather. This week is looking pretty rough.
Yes. But we do have, when the weather does start to get warmer, you and me have a picnic planned.
We do, and the beach. We're looking forward to a beach day because we both will have our vaccines.
Yep.
I'm getting my second dose at the end of the month, so that's something that I think is gonna. I'm kind of nervous about the second dose, honestly, but
yeah, I've heard that one has more side effects or symptoms than the first one does.
That's what. But my mom gets her second dose before I get my second dose.
So you'll be able to gauge.
Yeah, I'll ask her. I'll be like, "Hey, Mom, how are you feeling?
Yeah.
Checking in on you. I hope you're doing great." You know,
right? My sister just got her second dose, and she was pretty sick for about a day or so, but she recovered after that. So
okay,
just got to get through it.
That's true.
One way to help everybody else. So
that's true. So one of the things that, before we get into our topic for today, because every Tuesday we do a Reporter's Notebook. Tuesday are my digital days.
Yeah.
And so basically I anchor the 1:30 and 4 p.m. digital show that people can watch at WNCT.com. If you download our app, which is new and improved.
Yes.
I don't know about you, Emily, but I'm really liking our app.
I do too. It's awesome. I love it.
It's awesome because you can select like the certain things that you want to get updates on. So people can select the podcast network. If that's the only thing you tune into WNCT for is our podcast, then you can download the app and just get the updates for that. So perfect, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it definitely has some more settings on there. You have more accessibility on the new app, which is awesome. So definitely be sure to check that out if you don't already have that. Exactly.
So let's talk about our podcast and who our guest was for today. So Emily, can you please tell us who our guest for today was?
Sure. So today our guest was Dr. Michael Walden. He is an economist from North Carolina State University. So keeping it in the state with North Carolinians here. And we wanted to talk to him basically about, the impact that the pandemic, COVID-19, has had not only over this past year on our economy, but how it's going to continue to affect our economy and what the future looks like, as our economy starts to rebuild itself, as businesses are reopening and all of that good stuff.
All of that good stuff, including our stimulus checks.
Yes, right? That was a big topic of conversation, yes, because I literally, right before we came in here, I checked my bank account, and I was actually complaining earlier because I was like, I feel like not even complaining, that's bratty of me, but, saying I haven't gotten it yet, and I just checked it, and mine is in my bank account, so I'm very happy about that. But he was telling us, as great as these stimulus checks are, this is the third one we've gotten, and they've really helped so many people that have struggled. In the long run, we're going to end up kind of paying for those stimulus packages that we've had roll out. So that's some fun news to learn about.
It is some fun news. He said, I asked a question like, what are the pros and cons? And he's like, as an economist, it's costs and benefits. These are the costs and benefits. So I was like, oh, so that's a new lingo I can, because as reporters, we pick up on different people's lingos and how they talk. Police have a certain lingo, and lawyers, attorneys have a certain lingo, medical people have a certain lingo.
Yeah.
We never talk to economists because that's just something that sometimes we'll talk to economists, but not an in-depth conversation where we explore a variety of topics instead of just one topic. And so instead of saying what are the pros and cons, next time I talk to someone who studies the economy, I can ask, what are the costs and benefits of what's happening here? So that's always fun. And so besides stimulus checks, we also talked about a few other things, including the state of North Carolina and how the economy is doing in the state of North Carolina. Jobs. You asked a really good question. He said, Emily, that's a really good question. So do you want to kind of talk about a little bit what we talked about there?
Sure. I think the question that I asked, if I'm picking up on the right one, was how our state, what part of our what section of our state in the economy has really been affected the most and which one is kind of coming out of the woodworks, on the other end and rebuilding their business or whatever back up. So I thought that was really interesting. He's really said, the housing market is booming right now, which is kind of something crazy you wouldn't expect, but the housing market is hot right now. Talking about, small businesses starting to rebuild themselves. So it's really interesting, because the pandemic did not affect every aspect of our economy, our country the same way. And so some places are going to take a little longer to get back on their feet. And it's just kind of a waiting game to see, how people come out on the other side of this and how it's going to affect us long term. But like he was telling us, economists and different experts, they follow these trends daily. They are constantly looking at these different indexes and the different numbers coming up every single day. So they're really trying to, gauge what the future could look like in the next couple months and how we're able to bounce back from it. And he did say, he gave us some promises, little promises for hopefully a semi-normal summer. So I'm definitely, crossing my fingers for that, by summertime, maybe some of this is able to go back to normal.
Yeah, we did touch on a lot of the coastal region, a lot of the businesses that were affected in the coastal region. Now the summer's going to look like for them, because we did a story, WNCT did a story about how some of the coastal regions are prepping for the summer. And I think one business owner said they were cautiously optimistic, which is just the best way. That's my new life motto. I'll be cautiously optimistic about everything going forward in my life from now on. Yeah. So perfect. So yes, so that will wrap up. Oh wait, before I actually wrap up this episode of Reporter's Notebook, and before I push to our podcast, you appeared on something very interesting. So this is, besides our podcast, let's get into the Reporter's Notebook part of, the daily reporting that you did. So there was a story that caught national attention from everyone and within our community, not our community, but within our all of the stations, all of our sister stations across the nation. Tell us about that story and tell us what you did today.
Sure. So last Friday, I did a story about a condition called parosmia. I may be totally butchering that name. I've heard it pronounced a few different ways, but I'm going with parosmia. Basically, it's a condition that distorts somebody's smell. So something that, was normally a smell that could be pleasant, like an orange or just, the outside air, suddenly becomes a rotten and rancid smell to someone. And doctors are basically saying that what they're finding is this could be due to nerve damage from COVID-19. A lot of people who contract COVID-19, about 80%, 2/3 of these people lose their smell, lose their taste for a little bit, and most of them are able to recover, but the doctors are starting to see some people coming in who have recovered from COVID-19 now coming in with this symptom saying, my smell is like all over the place. I'm not smelling things right. Things smell rotten and rancid. I spoke with a little girl's mom who is suffering with this. She's 11 years old and she had COVID back in November. And right now she's suffering with parosmia and she can open the refrigerator door. And if there is an onion, sealed in a bag, sealed in a drawer in the refrigerator, as soon as she opens the fridge, she will get sick because her senses are just that heightened and so damaged due to COVID-19. So it's really crazy. It's making life very difficult for her. So this has caught national attention because there's not really a lot of research. The doctors I talked to were kind of explaining that, they've been really just taking this pandemic as it's come, first, seeing all the mass deaths and the mass widespread. So they were trying to, control the amount of deaths at first. Then they, brought the vaccine out in hopes to control acute symptoms. So now that next part of research, they say, is looking at those long lasting effects that people are having after recovering. And this is one of those. And again, there's not a lot of research. They're trying to figure it out. So I just thought it was an interesting story because we don't know. I mean, that's just one of many possible side effects that people could suffer from because we just don't know right now what those effects of COVID-19 are going to be in the long run.
Right. Yeah. And I think the scariest effect that I'm hearing is like neurological damage.
Yeah.
That's something that I will follow closely because I haven't had COVID, but that is something that I don't know, just anything having to do with the handicap of the brain really terrifies me.
Yeah, it's scary. And I mean, this is nerve damage, what they're saying that this parosmia is from. So, you know, they don't know, doctors don't know if this is something that could go away easily with possibly therapy, or it'll just go away on its own, or it could be something that ends up lasting for someone's lifetime that they have to deal with, because again, it is nerve damage. So it's just it's a very fascinating condition, I think. And hopefully, you know, my goal with that story, putting it out there, was that maybe, you know, people that are suffering with this, because there are seeming to be more and more people coming in with this condition, that they're able to get some answers and some supportive help from others across the country that are dealing with the same thing.
And I do want to end on a happy note, so I'm not going to end on that, because that is something that is very serious and we should follow through. And if anyone if any of our viewers see Emily on a station in a different city, in a different state, she's still with us. It's just that her story went national. So congratulations, Emily. Here's a fun topic. Tomorrow is St. Patrick's Day.
Yay!
Don't forget to wear green.
Yes. I almost forgot, actually, so I'm glad you just reminded me this.
I don't want to get pinched. No one touch me, because it's COVID. But also, because I don't want to be pinched.
Right.
There was a few things that we talked about, I think I was talking to you. I hope I was talking to you about this, because I'm bringing it up. But there's a few places in Uptown Greenville that are having specials that are, you know, I'm pretty sure almost every restaurant in Uptown Greenville is looking to have a special.
Yeah.
Are you looking to see maybe pickleback shots at one of these bars up there? Or do you have any St. Patrick's Day plans?
I haven't even thought about it. I totally spaced that this week was going to be St. Patrick's Day until I saw over the weekend people were celebrating, and I was like, oh my gosh, wait, that's coming up. So right now, I don't have any plans. There's definitely going to be a lot of, fun festivities. Maybe I'll go, downtown, uptown, check some places out, get something to eat. Not sure yet, but if you see me, say hi if I choose to go out.
Yes, that is very true.
More than likely, I'll probably end up staying at home and watching movies, because that's what I normally do.
That's true. Yeah,
I'm a huge homebody.
Well, there is nothing wrong with that, especially right now during the pandemic. Well, Thank you, Emily, so much for joining me on this edition of Reporter's Notebook. I know that you can listen to our podcast at WNCT.com in the Features tab, where it says WNCT Podcast Network. You'll see the latest episodes of Sports Talk, and then the State of podcast. That is a whole series that we're also doing. And then our podcast, What the Politics. And you can also tune in on Apple and Spotify podcasts. All right, everyone. I hope everyone has a great evening.